Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be doing another update of Baltimore Thurgood International Airport. We have a brand new arrival into today's update. It's a new model, it's a new airline, it's a new type of aircraft technically into this update. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and get started off here at the runway. Just crossing the hold short line here, we have this Spirit Airbus A320neo. This aircraft is just about to depart out to Houston in Texas. Just following that aircraft down to the runway, here we have this Atlas Air Boeing 767-300. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Los Angeles in California. Next up here, moving on to Delta, here we have this Delta Boeing 737-900. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Minneapolis in Minnesota. Following that, we have this Delta Boeing 717. This one is going to be heading out to Detroit in Michigan. It's so cool that we still get the 717s into Baltimore. Following that, we have this United Boeing 737 MAX 8. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Chicago O'Hare in Illinois. And then after that, here we have this American Boeing 737-800. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Charlotte in North Carolina. And next up here we have the new aircraft. This is the Allegiant Air Boeing 737 MAX 8-200. So the -200 variant of the MAX 8 is a special type of MAX 8 that's had the extra emergency exit added into the aircraft, just because they cram so many people onto this type of aircraft. I believe apart from Allegiant, the only other airline that uses the -200 variant of the MAX 8 is Ryanair over in Europe. So it is the low-cost carriers that try and cram as many people as they can onto the aircraft that have the -200 variant in service. Allegiant have flown into Baltimore for a very long time. However, I just haven't had an Allegiant aircraft to have in one of these updates. Gemini Jets have released the A320 and I believe the A319 before, but they've been on pretty awful molds. So if I get an Allegiant A320 or A319 in the future, I think I'm going to just wait until that's released by NG over a company like Gemini Jets that just do not produce a very good A320 mold. This MAX 8 is a Gemini Jets mold, but I think the MAX 8 is one of the rare molds that Gemini Jets gets okay. So I decided to go for this one. Allegiant have 25 orders for the 737 MAX 8-200, with one only in service so far as when I'm recording this anyway. Of course, by the time you're seeing this, they probably have a few more in service. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that they've gone for the MAX aircraft, considering they have before operated the A319 and A320. They still have a lot of the Airbuses in service. They have 94 A320s in service, with 34 A319s in service. And of course, they also have 24 orders for the 737 MAX 7. So because Allegiant are a very low-cost carrier, the reason why they've gone for the MAX 8s and the MAX 7s is because during the grounding of the MAX aircraft, Boeing were willing to give those MAX aircraft to any airline that will have them for pretty cheap. So Allegiant jumped on that and they ordered their aircraft for very, very cheap, which is why they've gone from Airbus to Boeing. That's the only reason. It's the same with the A320s. I believe when they ordered their A320s, they got them for an absolutely insane deal. And before the A320s, they were operating 757s and MD-80s secondhand. So Allegiant have a really long history of not necessarily secondhand aircraft, but just cheap aircraft, and making the most of opportunities when they come up to buy their aircraft really, really cheap. Of course, their MAX aircraft are brand new. They were just really, really cheap because of the MAX groundings. This aircraft isn't just going to benefit Baltimore, however, as Allegiant also fly from Dallas, so I'm going to have this aircraft in some Dallas updates in the future as well. Allegiant have quite a few different destinations from Baltimore. They fly to Asheville, North Carolina, Destin, Fort Walton Beach in Florida, and Savannah in Georgia all year round. And then they have seasonal destinations to Knoxville in Tennessee and Punta Gorda in Florida. Then from Dallas, I believe they're operating out to Jacksonville in Florida, Punta Gorda again in Florida, and Sarasota in Florida. So Allegiant don't have a huge presence in the DC area, but they do have, you know, a presence. I believe they started to Dulles a few years ago now, so they are increasing their presence in the DC area. So it's pretty cool to finally get an Allegiant aircraft in this update. So this Allegiant 737 MAX 8-200 is going to be heading out to Asheville in North Carolina. Following along from that, here we have this Spirit Airbus A321. This aircraft has arrived in from Fort Lauderdale in Florida and is going to be heading out to Tampa in Florida. We then have this Spirit Airbus A320, just arrived in from Las Vegas, Nevada, and is going to be heading out to New Orleans in Louisiana. And then last but not least, here for Spirit, we have this Spirit Airbus A320neo. This one has arrived in from Charleston in South Carolina and is going to be heading out to San Diego in California. Moving over to cargo here, we have a giant aircraft. We have the Atlas Air Boeing 747-8. This is heading out on a special cargo service to Anchorage in Alaska. Over here at the international section, we have this British Airways Boeing 787-8. This aircraft is heading out to London Heathrow in the UK. We then have this Play Airbus A321neo. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Keflavik in Iceland. And then next up here, moving over to Southwest, we have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-800. This aircraft has arrived in from Louisville in Kentucky and is going to be heading out to Pensacola in Florida. We then have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700. This aircraft has arrived in from Rochester in New York and is going to be heading out to Destin Fort Walton Beach in Florida. We then have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8. This aircraft has arrived in from Indianapolis in Indiana and is going to be heading out to Los Angeles in California. We then have the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the Maryland 1 color scheme. This aircraft has arrived in from Islip in New York and is going to be heading out to Charlotte in North Carolina. And finally here, finishing off for today's updates, we have the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8. This aircraft has arrived in from Las Vegas in Nevada and is going to be heading out to Miami in Florida. And with that, I want to thank you very much for watching today's video, and I guess with that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.